Joining me right now on the KDON Live line, I've got to say, not only is a friend, he's one of my heroes, and that is Sheriff Joe Arpaio, and from Maricopa County, Arizona. And Sheriff, welcome to KDON once again.
Well, thank you. How's Vegas?
It's waiting for you. You going to come back to our Conservative Leadership Conference in June?
I've been there a few times giving talks. I don't know if the people like me there, but that's all right.
Joe, you're one of the people. People come out to see you no matter where you're at. You remember what happened when you came out to a First Friday and we had, what was it, 1,200 people in the room? We couldn't get the other several hundred people in time to even hear you. So, no, please, that's June, the Conservative Leadership Conference. We'd love to have you there.
Thank you.
All right, so I want to talk about this. Listen, you got a lot of guts. You are releasing a report, a 10-page report, which is suggesting that the Obama birth certificate is a forgery. Some people I've talked to about this are rolling their eyes and go, oh, not that story again. Why did you get involved in this, and exactly what have you found, sir?
Well, I didn't release any report. I did release proof on the birth certificate and the selective service card. I had experts look at it, and we're pretty sure that could be forgery and fraud involved. We're just doing our job. It came to my attention 6 months ago by the 250 Tea Party members, and they asked their sheriff, which is me, to do something. Do I throw it in the wastebasket? To curtail the criticism that I'm wasting taxpayers' money, I gave it to my cold case posse that I swear in. And they've been there for several years. They're experts, former cops and lawyers. So we developed this story here. I didn't do it to hang the president. I was hoping that they would clear the president on this birth certificate issue. But it didn't work out that way. So we had to do an investigation. We did it. We went public. But it's very interesting. The major media, once again, won't cover this story because it has to do with the president. I don't know. So I've been a federal top law enforcement official for many, many, many years. I know how the feds operate. All they can do is I have conspiracy theories. The campaign manager for Obama already went public and linked this to the X-file like I'm a conspiracy theory. I'm a law enforcement guy, and there's never been a law enforcement agency to look into that. Never. So I'm not going to criticize everybody else the public that has their theories, but I'm a law enforcement guy, so we look at it a little differently. We go after the facts.
All right, real quickly, three things I've got to ask you. First of all, obviously, the Justice Department has accused you and your Department of Civil Rights abuses, and some people are saying, well, this is just sour grapes on your part, and that's why you're going after them. That's what I've heard people say.
Having worked for the feds for 30 years, I must be pretty stupid. Anybody else would go hide because they are the federal government with powerful resources. So do you think that I would do this knowing that it might agitate them a little and keep going after me more and more? I'm not that stupid, but you know what? The people asked me to do something, and I did. I don't know. I didn't know how it would turn out. So I'm not going to back down from that.
All right. Well, you don't back down anyway. Two other questions, and that's one is tell me about the birth certificate itself. What leads you to believe that it may be a fraud?
Well, listen, I have the expert. You're the first one to hear this that flew in from California on this issue. She can briefly talk to you about this fraud. She's the one that checked it out.
All right.
It's too complicated.
Hi, who am I speaking to?
I'm sorry, what?
Who am I speaking to?
My name is Mara Zebest. M-A-R-A is the first name. Z-E-B-E-S-T is the last.
Okay.
And my report was included in the release documents for the press conference yesterday.
And what did you find as part of your investigation?
Where do I begin? I mean, there are a multitude of problems with this document. It is too numerous to discuss in this small, short thing. But the more important part is that we're actually beyond proving anything about the layers and stuff. This is a criminal investigation at this point. They are going forward with other information as well that they have. It's not just about the birth certificate anymore. There are other issues here.
What are those issues, please?
We went over all of them in the press conference. Did you not?
Well, I'll tell you, we have a selective service card that we present that, once again, is very suspect. And she's the expert on the computerized or the
computer program,
and she's the one that came up with I hate to say proof, but good indications that it's a forgery.
What about
and yet everybody is saying everybody is saying that everybody's been through this before. They proved this. Wait a minute, no law enforcement agency has been through this.
What about the Social Security card that you were looking at as well, Sheriff?
Well, we haven't looked into that. I'll tell you what we did. We had the press conference just to come up with selected points where we can really show that we have proof. So we got so much stuff, but I don't want to get into that right now. This is the first step to prove about those two documents and a couple other things, like just by coincidence a week was missing documentation flying into Hawaii. That 1 week where he was born is missing from the archives.
I saw that, right.
Archives. We got sworn statements from witnesses around the world. So when they say the White House, this sheriff, and everybody else, the major news media who won't cover this story, that this is just a conspiracy theory, the sheriff is just trying to blunt the Justice Department investigating me, all this garbage, but they don't get to the real facts of this case. And I'm not accusing the president of any crime.
No, you're not. But you said you do have identified a person of interest. And who might that be? Where might that person be working?
Well, I'm not going to get into that right now. I'm not talking about the president. And I don't know. Maybe he didn't know about these documents, although the White House went public on worldwide TV and showed the document that we looked at. So you can't say it was a secret. By putting that on the Internet, you say, why am I interested? That affects Arizona, too. Fraud or forgery or whatever.
All right, let me ask you one question unrelated to this from yesterday, but it's so relevant. And it happens the same time you're having this press conference. Andrew Brietbart, who also was at the Conservative Leadership Conference last year as our keynote speaker, if you recall, he died yesterday, early morning hours, and he was supposed to have released some, as they say, damning Obama footage. And you're a law enforcement official. Michael Savage has suggested that Brietbart was assassinated. We don't know that. But, I mean, if you were a sheriff or a law enforcement official in Los Angeles, would you be seriously looking into the death of Andrew Brietbart?
Well, I'm going to give you a scoop.
Okay.
First of all, I talked to him 4 or 5 hours before he died, okay?
You did?
He called me. And we talked about, he knew that I was having a press conference the day after. This was the 29th. And he said he had information and all that. Now, I've been around a long time in Washington through the Watergate. I can tell you, G. Gordon Lee, I know all this stuff. I've been a federal official for 30 years, so I know about Washington, having worked there 3 different times. I'm not going into conspiracy theory, but you always gotta keep your eyes and ears open. You can't just disregard any situation. Here's a person that I have a lot of respect for. He calls me, and right after that, he dies. Now, am I a jinx, or what's going on here?
I would hope not, because I called you, too. I do want to know, though, what did he talk to you about? What did he have to say?
Well, he knew I was having a press conference on March 1. He had Jerry Corsi told me he was going to call me. He had the information on tapes or whatever. So the man calls me. And quite frankly, I didn't remember him. You know, I got so many calls, and he mentioned that he's happy I'm doing my press conference and had some good information. And then I hear that he dies 4 or 5 hours later. So I don't know. Am I a kiss of death or what?
Wow.
I feel sorry for his family. I'm beginning to learn more about him. And I may have met him at your meeting, I don't know, but he called me, and I talked to him.
Yeah, he was the keynote speaker. You were one of our speakers, too, and he was the keynote speaker. And I mean, he overwhelmed people because he was supposed to speak like up to 30 minutes. He went on for an hour and a half. No one even began to leave the room, as they don't when you speak as well. So, I mean, there's certain people that, do command a great sense of attention.
So he knew me. I just forgot. I get so many talk shows I can't keep track. But I knew he was going to call me. Of course, he told me that.
Mm-hmm.
And isn't it sad? I mean, it's really sad because it's home and you talk to somebody, and then I don't care who it is, 4 or 5 hours later you hear he died. That's sad.
And he's 43 years old, and he was going to release later in the day this Obama footage showing him with Bill Ayers and Bernardine Dorn back in the day planning for Obama to run for the presidency. And the day he's supposed to release it, right after he talks to you about your press conference yesterday, somehow he mysteriously dies walking back from a bar late at night. That is just amazing.
Well, I send my condolences to the family. I just happened to see him on TV and remembered him again. Quite frankly, when I talked to him, I didn't connect meeting him prior, but it's sad. So I don't know what's going on with this whole situation with the birth certificate. I just have to do my job. I gave it to the cold case posse. I swear in citizens. They've been sworn in years ago, ex-cops, attorneys. So anybody that accuses me of wasting taxpayers' money, they can't accuse me of that. They're accusing me locally of everything you can think about, that I did this to cover up the Justice Department. I think I told you about that. Mm-hmm. I'm just doing my job. 250 Tea Party people came to me and said, Sheriff, you're our last hope. Can you look into it? Okay.
All right, I've got to ask you one last question, which is an obvious one, especially in light of the death of Andrew Breitbart. Are you taking good care for your own safety or concerned about your safety given what you're releasing?
Listen, I got Mexican cartels after me. In fact, they're pretty cheap. There's only 4 million. So I got all these threats. Just busted a guy in Portland threatening to kill me. There's a guy in Tennessee we're working on wants to kill me because of Obama, working on him. I get these threats all the time. I'm a big guy. Been around law enforcement 50 years. Maybe I ought to go to Las Vegas. Trump will give me one of his rooms.
All right.
Where's Trump with all this stuff? Too busy endorsing Romney?
Well, actually, Trump came out and was questioning the president's birth certificate a long time ago as well. So, I think he
didn't do anything.
No, he questioned a long time ago.
He's not a law enforcement guy. Now you got a law enforcement agency looking at it.
Well, the first one looking at it, Sheriff Joe Arpaio from Maricopa County, Arizona. Listen, as always, Sheriff Joe, America's Sheriff, thank you for being with us. And we do look forward to seeing you here in June at the Conservative Leadership Conference. We want you up here, okay?
Wasn't invited, but I'll be glad to go.
I'm inviting you right now in front of thousands of people.
You paying my way?
I'll have to talk to Chuck Muth about that. I'm not sure. Well, but we got to get you up here.
All right.
All right. Sheriff Joe, thanks for joining us, and thanks for letting us talk to Mayors the Best as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye. Well, there you heard it. I mean, he's feisty. He is going to go ahead with the investigation. He says there is